Diyos ug makagagahom nga Amahan, salamat sa mga grasya nga among nadawat, labi na sa gasa sa kinabuhi. Hinaot unta nga kami hatagan sa gasa sa pagsabot ug mahayagan ang among hunahuna ug among gilauman, ikaw magahatag kanamo sa proteksyon. Sa mga magtutudlo, magapadayon ang ilang kinasing-kasing nga pag-alagad. Una kami sa kalipay, aron mulambo ang tinuod na gugma ug kaluoy sa matag adlaw. Ining tanan among gilauman, sa ngalan ni Jesus, Amen. Bayang magiliw, perlas sa silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bukaw. May dilagang tula at awit sa paglay minamahal, ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niyang kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw nang luwalhatig pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Amay ligaya ng pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
The Department of Education, Division of TANGKUB City, in partnership with the local government unit of TANGKUB, presents ang TANGKUB, transforming advancement in the new normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media, a TV-based instructional program crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies thematically layered in drama plays, which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is ang TANGKUB.
It's TANGKUB, TANGKUB, TANGKUB time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tugtog na.
Maayong adlaw mga bata! Ania kita karon para sa atong pagtulunan sa pagbasa. Karon mga bata, ato nang sugdan ang atong pagtulunan karong adlaw. Andama o paklia ang inyong basa module 3 to 5, exercises 1, page 2. Diha inyong makita ang letrang T, A, T, E. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang unang linya ug paminawa ko kung unsaon nako kini pagbasa. A, e, tate. Akong usbon mga bata. A, e, tate. Mga bata, tudlua ang ikaduhang linya ug magdungan kita sa pagbasa. A, e, tate. Atong usbon pagbasa mga bata. A, e, tate. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang ikatulong linya ug kamo na pud ang magbasa. Usban ninyo pagbasa mga bata. Kung ang inyong gibasa mao ang a, e, tate. Sakto mga bata! Karon mga bata, paklia ang inyong basa module 3 to 5, exercises 1, page 3. Diha inyong makita ang letrang T, A, T, O. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang unang linya ug paminawa ko kung unsaon nako kini pagbasa. A, o, tato. Akong usbon mga bata. A, o, tato. Mga bata, tudlua ang ikaduhang linya ug magdungan kita sa pagbasa. A, o, tato. Atong usbon pagbasa mga bata. A, o, tato. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang ikatulong linya ug kamo na pud ang magbasa. Usban ninyo pagbasa mga bata. Kung ang inyong gibasa mao ang a, o, tato. Sakto mga bata! Mga bata, paklian na pod ang inyong basa module 3 to 5, exercises 1, page 4. Diha inyong makita ang letrang T, A, T, U. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang unang linya ug paminawa ko kung unsaon nako kini pagbasa. A, u, tatu. Akong usbon mga bata. A, u, tatu. Mga bata, tudlua ang ikaduhang linya ug magdungan kita sa pagbasa. A, u, tatu. Atong usbon pagbasa mga bata. A, u, tatu. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang ikatulong linya ug kamo na pud ang magbasa. Usban ninyo pagbasa mga bata. Kung ang inyong gibasa mao ang a, u, tatu. Sakto mga bata! Mga bata, paklia ang inyong basa module 3 to 5, exercises 1, page 5. Diha inyong makita ang letrang T, E, T, A. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang unang linya ug paminawa ko kung unsaon nako kini pagbasa. Tse, tsa, teta. Akong usbon mga bata. Tse, tsa, teta. Mga bata, tudlua ang ikaduhang linya ug magdungan kita sa pagbasa. Tse, tsa, teta. Atong usbon pagbasa mga bata. Tse, tsa, teta. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang ikatulong linya ug kamo na pud ang magbasa. Usbanin mo pagbasa mga bata. Kung ang inyong gibasa mao ang tse, tsa, teta. Sakto mga bata! Mga bata, paklia ang inyong basa module 3 to 5, exercises 1, page 6. Diha inyong makita ang letrang T, E, T, E. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang unang linya ug paminawa ko kung unsaon nako kini pagbasa. Tse, tse, tete. Akong usbon mga bata. Tse, tse, tete. Mga bata, tudlua ang ikaduhang linya ug magdungan kita sa pagbasa. Tse, tse, tete. Atong usbon pagbasa mga bata. Tse, tse, tete. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang ikatulong linya ug kamo na pud ang magbasa. Usbanin mo pagbasa mga bata. Kung ang inyong gibasa mao ang tse, tse, tete. Sakto mga bata! Mga bata, paklian na pod ang inyong basa module 3 to 5, exercises 1, page 7. Diha inyong makita ang letrang T, E, T, O. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang unang linya ug paminawa ko kung unsaon nako kini pagbasa. Tse, tso, teto. Akong usbon mga bata. Tse, tso, teto. Mga bata, tudlua ang ikaduhang linya ug magdungan kita sa pagbasa. Tse, tso, teto. Atong usbon pagbasa mga bata. Tse, tso, teto. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang ikatulong linya ug kamo na pud ang magbasa. Usbanin mo pagbasa mga bata. Kung ang inyong gibasa mao ang tse, tso, teto. Sakto mga bata! Mga bata, paklian na pod ang inyong basa module 3 to 5, exercises 1, page 8. Diha inyong makita ang letrang T, E, T, U. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang unang linya ug paminawa ko kung unsaon nako kini pagbasa. U, tetu. Akong usbon mga bata. U, tetu. Mga bata, tudlua ang ikaduhang linya ug magdungan kita sa pagbasa. U, tetu. Atong usbon pagbasa mga bata. U, tetu. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang ikatulong linya ug kamo na pud ang magbasa. Usban ninyo pagbasa mga bata. Kung ang inyong gibasa mao ang U, tetu. Sakto mga bata. Mga bata, paklia ang inyong basa module 3 to 5, exercises 1, page 9. Diha inyong makita ang letrang T, A, K, A. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang unang linya ug paminawa ko kung unsaon nako kini pagbasa. Taka. Akong usbon mga bata. Taka. Mga bata, tudlua ang ikaduhang linya ug magdungan kita sa pagbasa. Taka. Atong usbon pagbasa mga bata. Taka. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang ikatulong linya ug kamo na pud ang magbasa. Usban ninyo pagbasa mga bata. Kung ang inyong gibasa mao ang taka. Sakto mga bata. Mga bata, paklia ang inyong basa module 3 to 5, exercises 1, page 10. Diha inyong makita ang letrang T, A, K, O. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang unang linya ug paminawa ko kung unsaon nako kini pagbasa. Tako. Akong usbon mga bata. Tako. Mga bata, tudlua ang ikaduhang linya ug magdungan kita sa pagbasa. Tako. Atong usbon pagbasa mga bata. Tako. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang ikatulong linya ug kamo na pud ang magbasa. Usban ninyo pagbasa mga bata. Kung ang inyong gibasa mao ang tako. Sakto mga bata. Mga bata, paklia ang inyong basa module 3 to 5, exercises 1, page 11. Diha inyong makita ang letrang T, A, K, U. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang unang linya ug paminawa ko kung unsaon nako kini pagbasa. K-u, taku. Akong usbon mga bata. K-u, taku. Mga bata, tudlua ang ikaduhang linya ug magdungan kita sa pagbasa. K-u, taku. Atong usbon pagbasa mga bata. K-u, taku. Karon mga bata, tudlua ang ikatulong linya ug kamo na pud ang magbasa. Usbanin mo pagbasa mga bata. Kung ang inyong gibasa mao ang k-u, taku. Sakto mga bata. O dinhi natapos ang atong review karong adlaw. Hangtod sa sunod nga higayon mga bata. Daghang salamat. Enjoy!
Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayo. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayo. Addition o multiplication, subtraction o ang division.
Kumusta mga bata? Welcome sa atong klase sa kindergarten dinhi sa telebisyon. Kagahapon atong nakatunan ang bahin sa party sa lawas nga mao ang ilong o nose. Karong adlaw aduna nausad kitay bag-o nga leksyon. Andam na ba mong magkat-on mga bata? Ali na, magkat-on na ta! Karong buntaga, magkat-on kita bahin sa party sa lawas nga mao ang abaga o shoulder. Mga bata, atong paminawon ang usa ka awit nga bahin sa party sa lawas.
Eyes, ears, elbows, neck, and nose. Feet, knees, hands, arms, legs, and toes. Fingers, mouth, head, hair, and hips. I love my body the way it is. Eyes, ears, elbows, neck, and nose. Feet, knees, hands, arms, legs, and toes. Fingers, mouth, head, hair, and hips. I love my body the way it is.
Mga bata, atong nadungog ang kanta kabahin sa mga party sa lawas. Ngaghisgutan didto sa kanta ang abaga o shoulder. Ug karon mga bata, tan-awa ko ninyo. Akong gihikap ang akong abaga o shoulder. Mao kini ang abaga o shoulder. Usa sa party sa lawas. Akong usbon mga bata. Mao kini ang abaga o shoulder. Usa sa party sa lawas. Akong usbon sa makausa mga bata. Mao kini ang abaga o shoulder. Usa sa party sa lawas. Karon mga bata, na ako'y ipakita nga video. Ato kining tan-awon o paminawon.
These are the parts of my body from my head to my toes. I'm gonna move each body part and say it. Here we go. These are the parts of my body from my head to my toes. I'm gonna move each body part and say it. Here we go. I move my head, 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 head. I move my
bahin sa body parts. Ug samtang kita nag-awit, atong ihikap ang abaga o shoulder. Ang abaga o shoulder, mga bata, parte kini sa atong lawas. Akong usbon, mga bata. Ang abaga o shoulder, usa sa parte sa atong lawas. Akong usbon sa makausa, mga bata. Ang abaga o shoulder, usa sa mga parte sa atong lawas. Ug karon, mga bata, oras na aron kamo na pod ang muhikap sa inyong abaga o shoulder. Atubangan sa imong mama. Sige, atubanga ang imong mama. Og hikapa ang imong abaga o shoulder. Og isulti kini. Ma, mao kini ang akong abaga o shoulder. Sige, sulayin na, mga bata. Nabuhat na ba ninyo, mga bata? O kung inyo nang nabuhat, maayo! Karon, buhatan na usab kini ngadto sa imong papa. Nabuhat na ba ninyo, mga bata? Very good! O karon, buhatan na usab kini sa inyong ate o kuya. Nabuhat na ba ninyo, mga bata? Maayo! Sige, buhatan na usab kini sa bisan kinsa nga naa sa inyong panimalay. Nabuhat na ba ninyo, mga bata? Very good! Karon, mga bata, oras na para sa inyong unang buluhaton. Diha sa inyong self-learning materials, inyong makita nga adunay giputos sa usa ka papel. Ang sulod sa putos mao ang mga ginunting nga drawing. Ang inyong buhaton, i-plaster kini o i-arrange aron makita kung unsa ang maporma. Kung inyo nang maporma, ipatapot kini sa blanko nga papel. Alang sa inyong dugang nga buluhaton, subaya ang putol-putol nga linya aron maporma ang usa ka abaga o shoulder. Akong usbon, mga bata. Subaya ang putol-putol nga linya aron maporma ang usa ka abaga o shoulder. Akong usbon sa makausa, mga bata. Subaya ang putol-putol nga linya aron maporma ang usa ka abaga o shoulder. Ug dinhi natapos ang atong leksyon karong adlaw. Hangtod sa sunod higayon. Daghang salamat, mga bata. Bye-bye.
This is the way we speak. This is
Kumusta mga bata? Welcome sa atong klase sa kindergarten dinhi sa telebisyon. Kagahapon atong nakatunan ang bahin sa party sa lawas nga mao ang ilong o nose. Karong adlaw aduna nausab kitay bag-o nga leksyon. Andam na ba mong magkatuon mga bata? Ali na, magkatuon na ta. Karong buntaga, magkatuon kita bahin sa party sa lawas nga mao ang abaga o shoulder. Mga bata, atong paminawon ang usa ka awit nga bahin sa party sa lawas.
Eyes, ears, elbows, neck, and nose. Feet, knees, hands, arms, legs, and toes. Fingers, mouth, head, hair, and hips. I love my body the way it is. Eyes, ears, elbows, neck, and nose. Feet, knees, hands, arms, legs, and toes. Fingers, mouth, head, hair, and hips. I love my body the way it is.
Mga bata, atong nadungog ang kanta kabahin sa mga party sa lawas. Ngaghisgutan didto sa kanta ang abaga o shoulder. Ug karon mga bata, tan-awa ko ninyo. Akong gihikap ang akong abaga o shoulder. Mao kini ang abaga o shoulder. Usa sa party sa lawas. Akong usbon mga bata. Mao kini ang abaga o shoulder. Usa sa party sa lawas. Akong usbon sa makausa mga bata. Mao kini ang abaga o shoulder. Usa sa party sa lawas. Karon mga bata, na ako'y ipakita nga video. Ato kining tan-awon o paminawon.
These are the parts of my body from my head to my toes. I'm gonna move each body part and say it. Here we go. These are the parts of my body from my head to my toes. I'm gonna move each body part and say it. Here we go. I move my head, 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 head. I move my eyes, eyes, eyes. I move my nose, nose, nose. I move my ears, ears, ears. I move my mouth, mouth, mouth. I move my neck, neck, neck. I move my shoulders, shoulders, shoulders. I move my stomach, stomach, stomach. These are the parts of my body from my head to my toes. I'm gonna move each body part and say it. Here we go. These are the parts of my body from my head to my toes. I'm gonna move each body part and say it. Here we go. I move my arms, arms, arms. I move my elbows, elbows, elbows. I move my hands, hands, hands. I move my fingers, fingers, fingers. I move my legs, legs, legs. I move my knees, knees, knees. I move my feet, feet, feet. I move my toes, toes, toes.
bata, atong gikanta ang awit bahin sa body parts. Ug samtang kita nag-awit, atong gihikap ang abaga o shoulder. Ang abaga o shoulder, mga bata, parte kini sa atong lawas. Akong usbon, mga bata. Ang abaga o shoulder, usa sa parte sa atong lawas. Akong usbon sa makausa, mga bata. Ang abaga o shoulder, usa sa mga parte sa atong lawas. Ug karon, mga bata, oras na aron kamo napod ang muhikap sa inyong abaga o shoulder. Atubangan sa imong mama. Sige, atubanga ang imong mama. O hikapa ang imong abaga o shoulder. O isulti kini. Ma, mao kini ang akong abaga o shoulder. Sige, sulayin na, mga bata. Nabuhat na ba ninyo, mga bata? O kung inyo nang nabuhat, maayo! Karon, buhatan na usab kini ngadto sa imong papa. Nabuhat na ba ninyo, mga bata? Very good! O karon, buhatan na usab kini sa inyong ate o kuya. Nabuhat na ba ninyo, mga bata? Maayo! Sige, buhatan na usab kini sa bisan kinsa nga naa sa inyong panimalay. Nabuhat na ba ninyo, mga bata? Very good! Karon, mga bata, oras na para sa inyong unang buluhaton. Diha sa inyong self-learning materials, inyong makita nga adunay giputos sa usa ka papel. Ang sulod sa putos mao ang mga ginunting nga drawing. Ang inyong buhaton, i-plaster kini o i-arrange aron makita kung unsa ang maporma. Kung inyo nang maporma, ipatapon kini sa blanko nga papel. Alang sa inyong dugang nga buluhaton, subaya ang putol-putol nga linya aron maporma ang usa ka abaga o shoulder. Akong usbon, mga bata. Subaya ang putol-putol nga linya aron maporma ang usa ka abaga o shoulder. Akong usbon sa makausa, mga bata. Subaya ang putol-putol nga linya aron maporma ang usa ka abaga o shoulder. Ug dinhi natapos ang atong leksyon karong adlaw. Hangtod sa sunod higayon. Daghang salamat, mga bata. Bye-bye.
Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na, mag-ipipina, ipipina, ipipina. Halika na, mag-aral na. Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na, mag-ipipina, ipipina, ipipina, ipipina.
Tanggub City, simply home. Tanggub City, simply home. This is our place, Tanggub City. There is so much you can see. A paradise from nature's best. It's a beauty among the rest. Rich in culture and history, it has a colorful festivity. One people in harmony, one people in great revelry. Tanggub City is proudly celebrating milestones and beyond. A never-ending celebration, a joy for everyone. Come and join us, let's all have fun. It's a legacy that we have done. A brighter future of our city is at hand. Tanggub City, simply home. 25 years of cultural fame, endless beauty in silver years. Magical symbols every Christmas, people dance in all festivals. Golden years of prosperity, we are proud of this great city. One people, one destiny. Tanggub City is a place to be. Tanggub City is proudly celebrating milestones and beyond. A never-ending celebration, a joy for everyone. Come and join us, let's all have fun. It's a legacy that we have done. A brighter future of our city is at hand. Gearing for progress and development, people remain focused to their commitment. Preserving the tradition of good values into Tanggub City, simply call our home. Tanggub City is proudly celebrating milestones and beyond. A never-ending celebration, a joy for everyone. Come and join us, let's all have fun. It's a legacy that we have done. A brighter future of our city is at hand. Brighter future, Tanggub City, simply home. Tanggub City, simply home. Tanggub City.
Kahit maraming problema, chill ka lang, don't stop sa pag-eskwela. Kabataan, pag-asa ng ating bayan. Ikaw, ako, tayong lahat ay magtutulungan. Ihanda na ang pisara, upuan at mga mesa. Ang pag-aaral ay simulan na. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina, sa school magsama-sama. Abutin ang mga pangarap, mayaman man o mahirap. Edukasyon ay para sa lahat. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina at magkakaisa. Maghawak ng kamay, sumigaw ng sabay-sabay. Isang tinig tungo sa tagumpay.
Kahit maraming problema, chill ka lang, don't stop sa pag-eskwela. Kabataan, pag-asa ng ating bayan. Ikaw, ako, tayong lahat ay magtutulungan. ihanda na ang pisara, upuan at mga mesa. Ang pag-aaral ay simulan na. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina, sa school magsama-sama. Abutin na mga pangarap, mayaman man o mahirap, edukasyon ay para sa lahat. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina at magkakaisa. Maghawak ng kamay, sumigaw ng sabay-sabay, isang tinig tungo sa tagumpay. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina, sa school magsama-sama. Abutin ng mga pangarap, mayaman man o mahirap, edukasyon ay para sa lahat. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina at magkakaisa. Maghawak ng kamay, sumigaw ng sabay-sabay, isang tinig tungo sa tagumpay. Halina.
Edukasyon sa pagpapakatao ang kailangan ng mundo upang matutong kikipagkapwa-tao, mabuti ang loob at maginoo. Mag-aral na tayo ng ESP, mag-aral na tayo ng ESP.
Maayong adlaw mga bata! Oy, karon ang ikaduhang adlaw sa atong simana. Og welcome sa malipayong pagkaton. Kagahapon, inyong nakatunan ang porma nga. Unsa ganito nga porma ato nakatunan kagahapon? Sakto ka! Triangle! Sige daw, bi atong balikon pagkanta katong ato ang kanta nga. Ako si Triangle. Ako si Triangle, Triangle. Ito na kong porma. May tulo ako kakilid. Ako si Triangle. Ikaw daw, bi? Sige, atong pagabalik kong kanta. Ako si Triangle, Triangle. Ito na kong porma. May tulo ako kakilid. Ako si Triangle. Uy, maayo na kayo mo kanta. So, karon mga bata, Atong pagatunan ang hustong pamaagi sa pagsulat sa triangle. Mao kini ang hustong pamaagi sa pagsulat sa porma nga triangle. Sige, lantawa sa si teacher ha, dayon kamo na. Paghuman ni teacher, magsugod kamo sa taas ug maghimo kamo og linya paubos. 1. Sunod, sugod sa ubos, maghimo kamo og horizontal or pahigda nga linya padulong sa inyong tuo. 2. Maghimo kamo og linya sugod sa ubos padulong sa taas. Ingon anaon. So, saan pagsulat? Sige daw, B. 1, 2, 3. Sige, sulayan nato pagsulat ang triangle sa hangin. 1, 2, 3.
Karon mga bata, atong baliko ng mga butang nga triangle ang porma.
Unsa man kana? Sakto, usa ka slice sa cake. Unsa may porma sa cake? Sakto, triangle. Triangle ang porma sa cake. Very good. Kana mga bata, nakakaon ka na bag ingon ana usab? Sama ni Clara? Unsa man kana? Sakto ka, usa ka slice sa pizza. Unsa may porma sa pizza? Sakto, triangle usab. Triangle ang pizza. Very good. Kini mga bata. Kipikas niya ang sandwich. Half sa sandwich. Kabalo ba mo unsay porma sa sandwich? Correct! Triangle usab. So, triangle ang sandwich. Very good kaayo. Karon mga bata, adunay giandam si teacher nga inyong ansiran. Ang inyong buhaton, andama ang lapis o crayola nga orange ang color. Subaya ang triangle nga porma o koloran kini gamit ang orange nga crayola. Aduna kami makita nga upat ka mga triangle nga adunay putol nga linya. Ug inyo kining subayon aron kini maporma nga triangle. Dayon, kuluran ninyo kini og orange nga crayola. Nakuha ba mga bata? Very good. Good job mga bata. Karon, ang ikaduha ninyong buhaton, subaya ang triangle nga porma nga makita sa hulagway o kuluran kini gamit ang orange gihapon nga crayola. Inyo kanang subayon ang putol-putol nga linya. Aron kini maporma nga triangle. Dayon, kuluran niyo kini og orange nga crayola. Good job! Very good mga bata! So karong adlaw, inyong nagatunan pag-usab ang porma nga triangle. Oy, maayo na gid kaayo. Daghang salamat. Ug magkita-kita na usab kita sa sunod sa malipayong pagkaton. Bye-bye!
planeta. Dali na mag-science na kita, mag-observe o mag-discover ta. Living things o non-living things, mga stars o mga planeta. Mga stars o mga planeta, mga stars o mga planeta.
Maayong adlaw mga bata! Oy, karon ang ikaduhang adlaw sa atong simana. Og welcome sa malipayong pagkaton. Kagahapon, inyong nakatunan ang porma nga. Unsa ganito nga porma ato nakatunan kagahapon? Sakto ka! Triangle! Sige daw, bi atong balikon pagkanta katong ato ang kanta nga. Ako si Triangle. Ako si Triangle, Triangle. Ha, ito na kong porma. May tulo ako kakilid. Ako si Triangle. Ikaw daw, bi? Sige, atong pagabalik kong kanta. Ako si Triangle, Triangle. Ha, ito na kong porma. May tulo ako kakilid. Ako si Triangle. Uy, maayo na kayo mo kanta. So, karon mga bata, atong pagatunan ang hustong pamaagi sa pagsulat sa triangle. Mao kini ang hustong pamaagi sa pagsulat sa porma nga triangle. Sige, lantawa sa si teacher ha. Dayon, kamo na. Pag humani teacher, magsugod kamo sa taas. Ug maghimo kamo og linya paubos. 1. Sunod, sugod sa ubos, maghimo kamo og horizontal or pahigda nga linya padulong sa inyong tuo. 2. Maghimo kamo og linya sugod sa ubos padulong sa taas. Ingon anaon. So, saan pagsulat? Sige daw, B. 1, 2, 3. Sige, sulayan nato pagsulat ang triangle sa hangin. 1, 2, 3.
Karon mga bata, atong balikon ang mga butang nga triangle ang porma.
Unsa man kana? Sakto, usa ka slice sa cake. Unsa may porma sa cake? Sakto, triangle. Triangle ang porma sa cake. Very good. Kana mga bata, nakakaon ka na bang ingon ana usab? Sama ni Clara? Unsa man kana? Sakto ka. Usa ka slice sa pizza. Unsa may porma sa pizza? Sakto. Triangle usab. Triangle ang pizza. Very good. Kini mga bata. Kipikas niya ang sandwich. Half sa sandwich. Kabalo ba mo unsay porma sa sandwich? Correct! Triangle usab. So, triangle ang sandwich. Very good kaayo. Karon mga bata, adunay giandam si teacher nga inyong ansiran. Ang inyong buhaton, andama ang lapis o crayola nga orange ang color. Subaya ang triangle nga porma o koloran kini gamit ang orange nga crayola. Aduna kami makita nga upat ka mga triangle nga adunay putol nga linya. Kung inyo kini subayon aron kini maporma nga triangle. Dayon, kuluran ninyo kini og orange nga Crayola. Nakuha ba mga bata? Very good. Good job mga bata. Karon, ang ikaduha ninyong buhaton, subaya ang triangle nga porma nga makita sa hulagway ug kuluran kini gamit ang orange gihapon nga Crayola. Inyo kanang subayon ang putol-putol nga linya. Aron kini maporma nga triangle. Dayon, kuluran niyo kini og orange nga Crayola. Good job! Very good mga bata! So karong adlaw, inyong nakatunan pag-usab ang porma nga triangle. Oy, maayo na gid kaayo. Daghang salamat. Ug magkita-kita na usab kita sa sunod sa malipayong pagkaton. Bye-bye!
Dali na mag-science na kita, mag-observe o mag-discover ta, living things o non-living things, mga stars o mga planeta. Dali na mag-science na kita, mag-observe o mag-discover ta, living things o non-living things, mga stars o mga planeta, mga stars o mga planeta, mga stars o mga planeta. Alamin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. halika na, mag-aral na. Gawin ang teknolohiya sa agrikultura at pangkabuhayan upang umunlad ang ating bayan sagana sa likas na yaman. Halika na, mag-ipipina, ipipina, ipipina, halika na, mag-aral na, ipipina, 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 ipipina.
Kahit maraming problema, chill ka lang, don't stop sa pag-eskwela. Kabataan, pag-asa ng ating bayan. Ikaw, ako, tayong lahat ay magtutulungan. Ihanda na ang pisara, upuan at mga mesa. Ang pag-aaral ay simulan na. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina, sa school magsama-sama. Abutin ang mga pangarap, mayaman man o mahirap. Edukasyon ay para sa lahat. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina at magkakaisa. Maghawak ng kamay, sumigaw ng sabay-sabay. Isang tinig tungo sa tagumpay.
Kahit maraming problema, chill ka lang, don't stop sa pag-eskwela. Kabataan, pag-asa ng ating bayan. Ikaw, ako, tayong lahat ay magtutulungan. Ihanda na ang pisara, upuan at mga mesa. Ang pag-aaral ay simulan na. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina, sa school magsama-sama. Abutin ng mga pangarap, mayaman man o mahirap. Edukasyon ay para sa lahat. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina at magkakaisa. Maghawak ng kamay, sumigaw ng sabay-sabay. Isang tinig tungo sa tagumpay. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina, sa school magsama-sama. Abutin ng mga pangarap, mayaman man o mahirap. Edukasyon ay para sa lahat. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina at magkakaisa. Maghawak ng kamay, sumigaw ng sabay-sabay. Isang tinig tungo sa tagumpay. Halina.
Tanggub City, simply home. Tanggub City, simply home. This is our place, Tanggub City. There is so much you can see. A paradise from nature's best. It's a beauty among the rest. Rich in culture and history, it has a colorful festivity. One people in harmony, one people in great revelry. Tanggub City is proudly celebrating milestones and beyond. A never-ending celebration, a joy for everyone. Come and join us, let's all have fun. It's a legacy that we have done. A brighter future of our city is at hand. Tanggub City, simply home. 25 years of cultural fame, endless beauty in silver Tanggap City is a place to be. Tanggap City is proudly celebrating milestones and beyond. A never-ending celebration, a joy for everyone. Come and join us, let's all have fun. It's the legacy that we have done. A brighter future of our city is at hand. Gearing for progress and development, people remain focused to their commitment, preserving the tradition of good values into Tanggap City, simply call our home. Tanggap City is proudly celebrating milestones and beyond. A never-ending celebration, a joy for everyone. Come and join us, let's all have fun. It's a legacy that we have done. A brighter future of our city is at hand. Brighter future, Tanggap City, simply home. Tanggap City, simply home. Tanggap City.
Why you look so sad? The tears are in your eyes. Come on and come to me now. Don't be ashamed to cry. Let me see you through. 'Cause I've seen the dark side too. When the night falls on you, you don't know what to do. Nothing you confess can make me love you less. I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. Won't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you. So if you're mad, get mad. Don't hold it all inside. Come on and talk to me now. Hey, what you got to hide? I get angry too. Well, I'm a lot like you. When you're standing at the crossroads and don't know which path to choose, let me come along. 'Cause even if you're wrong, I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. Won't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you. Take me into your darkest hour, and I'll never desert you. I'll stand by you. And when the night falls on you, baby, you're feeling all alone. You won't be on your own. I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. Won't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you. Take me into your darkest hour, and I'll never desert you. I'll stand by you. stand by you. I'll stand by you.
Sa Pilipino, natuto tayo mabigas magsalita sa sariling wika, tula at kwento sa sariling bansa. Tayo na, mag-aral na tayo. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, N, ang O, P, R, S, T, Q, U, V, W, X, Y, at Z. Ha, 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 hi, 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 Sa Pilipino, matuto tayo mabigas magsalita sa sariling wika, tula at kwento sa sariling bansa. Tayo na, mag-aral na tayo. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, N, ang O, P, R, S, T, Q, U, V, W, X, Y, at Z. Ha, 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 hi, 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 Ha, 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 hi, 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 Ha, 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 hi, hi, hi,
My name's Eep.
Bring it, stop. It's news.
And we're the world's first family, the Crudes.
Another glorious morning.
Dad always says the pack stays together.
That's my girl. Seatbelt mode.
Now we're searching for a perfect place to call home.
Juan! Anak! Matulog ka na at gabi-gabi na. Paalala lang ha, na maaga alis natin bukas.
Opo, Inay. Tatapusin ko muna ito. Malapit na matapos.
O ano ba yung pinanood mo, Juan, at ayaw mo mabibig?
The Croods po, inay. Dito po, nalalaman ko ang uri ng pamumuhay ng caveman. At saka, ang pagbabago ng kanilang pamumuhay sa paglipas ng maraming taon. O, ayan po, inay. Tapos na.
Indonesia's Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysical Agency reported a magnitude of 4.9 quake in the Philippines. In the Philippines, near the city of Boracay, only 13 minutes ago, the earthquake hit in the evening on Thursday, 19 on the November 2020 at 8:14 p.m. local time at a moderately shallow depth of 30 kilometers. Weak shaking might have been felt in Boracay, population of 132,100, located 4 kilometers from the epicenter. Pagadian, population of 186,900, 5 kilometers away. Labangan, population of 10,800, 10 kilometers away. Cagawasan, population of 2,200, 12 kilometers away. Tukuran, population of 13,100, 13 kilometers away. Mantampay, population of 265,000, 92 kilometers away.
Nabasa ko na kanina ang balitang iyan sa newspaper. Hay nako, talagang nakakabahala na ang balita ngayon dahil marahil sa pagbabago ng klima na epekto ng globalisasyon.
Tama ka, inay. Maaaring malaking dahilan ng climate change sa globalisasyon. Yan kasi ang tinalakay namin ni Teacher Esther kanina.
Talaga na? Speaking of globalisasyon, talagang naaapektuhan ng malaki ang ekonomiya at politikal na kalagayan ng mga bansa sa daigdig. O sige anak, good night! Oh, teka muna, tapos ka na bang mag-toothbrush at maglinis ng buong katawan?
Opo, inay. Tapos na po. Sige po. Good night din po, inay.
natapos na rin ako at pwede na akong matulog.
anak.
Good morning, Itay.
Good morning din, Honey Bun.
Good morning, Honey Buns!
Ready na ba ang lahat?
Yes! Yes, Daddy!
Yun, let's go!
Oh, ready na ba kayo mga anak? Parang matamlay ka, Juan. Naku! Parang may sinat ka. 3 oras pa naman ang biyahe natin patungo sa tito mo. Teka lang, kukuha mo na ako ng thermometer. $37.5. Hindi kasi natulog ng maaga. O ito, inumin mo ang gamot at matulog ka sa biyahe.
Sorry po, Inay.
Oh, ikaw naman yan, Josephine. Ano namang pinagkakaabalahan mo dyan?
Kasi, Nay, may research po kasi kami, Nay. Wala na ako ibang time, kaya sinulit ko na lang ito sa biyahe natin.
Naku, nako naman itong batang to. Pwede namang paglaan na ng oras niyan pagdating natin doon. Sasakit ang mata mo niyan.
Oo naman eh.
Oo nga anak, ang lakas ng volume kahit naka-headset kayo naririnig ko. Alam mo bang sa lakas ng radar niyan ay pwedeng masira ang tenga mo?
Talaga po ba, Tay? Sorry po, hindi na po mauulit.
Paki-turn on naman ang FM station para makapag-relax naman itong mind ko.
Right away, Honey Buns!
Magdadrive ko hanggang Baguio. Magdadrive ko hanggang Bicol. Magdadrive ko hanggang...
Nay! Malapit po ba tayo? Ang ganda sana ng panaginip ko. Nandun daw kami sa museo. Sayang, nagising ako kagad. Marami pa sana akong matutunan.
Ay, nako. Bunga ng sinat lang yan.
Isasama ko kahit sino.
Hi, thanks God. 36.5. Buti na lang, hindi na uwi sa lagnat ang sinat mo kanina.
Nay! Bakit po Honey Buns ang tawagan niyo ni tatay?
Kasi anak, iyang honey ay matamis na. Tapos, ang kasama sa Cebuana term ay uban. Kaya, honey buns. Matamis kasi kasama si tatay.
You're making me kill
Kaya pala hindi ko naririnig na tinatawag mong Haniban si tatay kapag may hindi kayo napag-uunawaan.
Pilyo ka talaga, anak!
Kung ako'y mahimong baboy, ihikot sa inyong silong. Kung aduna mo'y kaluoy, makaon lamang huktai. Kung wala'y baboy sa inyong silong.
May pamilya ka ba?
Opo, yung tatay ko may sakit. Yung nanay ko naman walang trabaho, kaya napilitin ako ganito.
O heto, tanggapin mo ito, tsaka ito na ring pera. Huwag ka nang manglimos ha. Delikado ang panahon ngayon kasi may COVID-19, kaya kung pwede, umuwi ka na.
Opo, maraming salamat po. Maraming tulong na sa pamilya ko po. Thank you po. Bye-bye.
Believe talaga ako sa'yo, Tay. Ang bait-bait mo. Hindi ka nag-alinlangang natulungan siya kahit hindi naman kita sa postura niya na nangangailangan siya ng tulong.
Alam mo anak, ang pagiging mabuti sa kapwa-tao ay isang magandang hiyas na may pamamana namin sa inyo.
Oo, huwag nating ibatay sa itsura ng tao ang pagbabahagi natin ng kabutihang loob. Huwag tayong mamili kung sino ang ating tutulungan. Pag may nangangailangan at tiyempong may maibibigay tayo, huwag nating ipagkait sa kanila ang kunting sayang maibabahagi natin.
Swerte talaga namin sa inyo, Nay, Tay. Di ba, Kuya?
Tama.
Honey Buns, pakicheck na sa Google Map kung ilang kilometro pa mula rito.
Oo nga, ilang oras na tayong nagbibiyahe at medyo malayo-layo na rin ang nararating natin. Honey Buns, mga 20 kilometro pa ang layo mula rito.
Maiba tayo, Honey Buns. May kasamahan ako sa trabaho na nagdi-deal sa akin ng kanyang palayan. Matinding pangangailangan daw. Saktong-sakto, naghahanap tayo ng additional income.
Talaga? Gaano kalaki ang area?
50 by 20, Honey Buns. Sabay nating tingnan ang area pagbalik natin sa TANGKUB.
Desidido ako dyan, Honey Buns.
Yun.
Kasi hindi man palagi iyan sa pang-araw-araw na konsumo sa bawat pamilya. Lalo pat present palagi iyan sa bawat okasyon.
Tama. Alam mo ba, Honey Buns, yan din ang iniisip ko. Lalo na ngayon sa panahon ng pandemya, makatutulong ang papasuking business natin bilang dagdag supply ng bigas sa market.
Nataglang ko ng pagkain, burger, fries, tapsilog at siopaw. Magdalay ko.
Tankaniki no tomonori, hisakata no hikari no dokeki, haru no hiri, shizukokoro naku, hana no chiruramu. Tankaniki no tomonori, hisakata no hikari no dokeki, haru no hiri, shizukokoro naku, hana no chiruramu. Hisakata no hikari no dokeki, haru no hiri, shizukokoro naku, hana no chiruramu. Hatsushigure, saru mo komino wo hoshige nari. Hatsushigure, saru mo komino wo hoshige nari. Haiko ni basho. Hatsushigure, saru mo komino wo hoshige nari. Hatsushigure, saru mo komino wo hoshige nari. Hatsushigure, saru mo komino wo hoshige nari. Haiku ni basho. Hatsushigure, saru mo komino wo hoshige nari. Haiku ni basho. Hatsushigure, saru mo komino wo hoshige nari.
Ginoong Juan de la Cruz! Juan de la Cruz!
Po!
Nagde-dreaming ka na naman!
Opo ma'am, binibining Santa Maria. Sorry po. Ma'am, maaari po bang marinig muli yung tula?
Yan kasi, hindi nakikinig.
Hatsushigure, sarumo komino wo hoshigenari. Hatsushigure, sarumo komino wo hoshigenari. Haiko ni basho.
Mahusay po ang pagkabigkas, ma'am. Puno ng emosyon at may buhay.
Magaling. Umupo ka na, Juan.
Salamat po, ma'am.
Ngayon, ano ang pagkakatulad ng kultura nating mga Pilipino sa kultura ng mga Hapon? Pakinggan natin ang sagot ni Sarah.
Ang pagkakatulad ng kultura ng mga Hapon sa kultura nating mga Pilipino ay ang pagiging magalang sa pananalita at paraan ng pagkilos. Tulad ng pagbati sa nakasalubong at pagpapakita ng paggalang.
Mahusay, Sarah. Palakpakan natin siya. Okay, at dahil time na, bilang takdang aralin ninyo, ipapasa ito bukas. Isulat ninyo kung ano ang mensahe ng mayakda sa likod ng mga matatalinghagang salita. Maliwanag ba?
Yes, ma'am.
At ikaw, Juan,
Po, ma'am.
dahil hindi ka nakinig kanina, ikaw ang una magpapresenta bukas. Naunawaan mo ba?
Opo, ma'am. Ma'am, sorry po.
Uy, ano ba yung iniisip mo kanina at malayong-malayong tingin mo?
Wala yun. Tara, tayo na. Sabay na tayo.
Uy! Ayan! Nagmamadali ka na naman. Ano to? Picture mo na nag-warm up ka?
Akin na. Salamat ha. Call of nature eh.
Hello, good morning. This is Miss Santa Maria of TANGKUB City National High School. May I help you po?
Hello ma'am, good morning din po. This is Mr. San Jose, father of Josefa. I've got a letter from you just now at nalaman ko na medyo behind siya sa klase pagkat palagi siyang late. Are you really sure about this, ma'am? Maaga ko siyang inihahatid dyan sa paralan.
Excuse me po, sir. Lalabas muna ako ng classroom, ha? Para pag-usapan yung tungkol sa anak niyo. Sandali.
Uy, Judith, akala ko tapos mo nang basahin yan.
Just review reading. I just like the story.
Ano ba naman tong katabi ko?
Oh,
Judith,
no sabi?
para sa'yo, happily given.
Partily given nga. Lusaw naman. Di bale, salamat Pedro.
Ang akin, wala. Pambihira naman to. Parang si Judith lang yung kaibigan niya.
Parang pag-ibig ko lang yan sa'yo. Unti-unti nang nalulusaw sa kakaantay kung kailan ko matatanggap ang matamis mong buhay.
Ang sabihin mo, nalusaw na yan sa sobrang init ng disturbo mo kay Judith.
Ikaw naman? Ay, okay. Wait, munti ko na nakalimutan. Okay, since marunong ka naman sa English, paki-double check naman tong advocacy speech tungkol sa mental health para bukas.
Isa lang nakikita kong parang hindi akma sa salita. Instead na power, palitan mo ng empower.
naman yung mga sarili nyo. Wow ha, ang perfect nyo.
Oo nga, lahat tayo ay may pantay-pantay na buhay at tungkulin. Marunong naman tayong gumalang, pareho naman tayong estudyante, at may pantay-pantay na karapatan.
Good morning, class!
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Anong kaguluhan ang narinig ko kanina? Pedro?
Wala po, ma'am.
Okay. Before we will start our class discussion today, let us check first your assignment about your illustration of polynomial functions.
Alam nyo, naawa ko kay Josefa. Malapit na kaibigan ng tatay ko yung tatay niya. Mabait naman yun eh. Kaya nga lang, napasama sa maling impluwensya ng barkada. Kaya ayun, napabisyo, sugal, droga, maaga na buntis. Nagluko para umuwi yung mga magulang niya. Pero wala eh, hindi pa rin umuwi. Kaya ayun yung nangyari.
Lahat naman tayo, alam yung kwento ng buhay niya. Pero believe nga ako sa kanya eh. Kasi natuto siyang bumangon at magbago.
Nakarelate ako sa nabasa ko nobela. Kahawig ng istorya niya. Kaya nga nagpapasalamat ako at may mga magulang na gumagabay sa akin. Bilib ako sa'yo, Juan.
Di sa akin, bilib ka rin ba?
Ewan ko sa'yo.
Okay, may tinapay pala ako dito sa bag ko. Halit, pagsaluhan natin.
Siya nga pala, Juan. Nakita ko to. Naiwan mo sa desk mo kahapon.
Ay, salamat. Binasa mo ba?
Oo naman! Kaya pala wala ka sa sarili mo kahapon.
Pabasa naman!
Welcome back mga Grade 7 Mathematics. Today is another brand new day to learn another lesson in mathematics. Dito sa nag-isang programa nyo, ang TANGKUB. We learn all things, ang saya! Ready na ba kayo? Hooray! Now, let us begin. Now, let's play back the scene where the Honey Buns couple had a conversation while traveling.
Honey Buns, pakicheck nga sa Google Map kung ilang kilometro pa mula rito.
Oo nga, ilang oras na tayong nagbibiyahe at medyo malayo-layo na rin ang nararating natin. Honey Buns, mga 20 kilometro pa ang layo mula rito.
Notice that the distance they need to travel to reach their destination is 20 kilometers. Remember, we use the unit of length in getting the distance.
Now, do you know how to convert the unit of length from one unit to another? Like, how many meters are there in 20 kilometers? 20 kilometers is equal to how many miles and many more. Well, stay tuned and get prepared, for we will tackle another lesson. This is conversion of unit of measurement for length for both metric and English system.
Last episode, you have learned that the standard units of measurements are classified into two types. These are the English system, like using the units inch, foot, yard, and the metric system of measurement, like using the units meter, centimeter, kilometer.
The metric system of measurement is easier compared to the English system of measurement, since its conversion factors would consistently in decimal system, unlike the English system of measurement, where measure of length have different conversion factors.
Now, here are the common metric system of measurement and English system of measurement and its equivalents. First, we have the English to English measurements. 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. 1 yard is equal to 3 feet or 36 inches. 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. Next is the English to metric measurements. 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. 1 foot is equal to 30.38 centimeters. 1 yard is equal to 0.9 meter. 1 mile is equal to 1.6 kilometers. The table earlier will serve as our guide in converting English to English measurements and English to metric measurements or vice versa.
Now, to convert units of length from one unit to another, let's follow these steps. First, identify the unit you are starting with. Second, identify the unit you want to end with. Next, find the conversion factor or factors that will convert the starting unit to ending unit. Using the fractional form, the unit you want to end will be the numerator, and the unit you are starting with, or to be cancelled, will be the denominator. And lastly, set up the mathematical expression so that all units except the unit you want to end with will not be cancelled.
Now, let's start with English to English unit of measurement conversion. Let's have examples. Example number 1. Convert 36 inches to feet. Step 1. Identify the unit you're starting with, and that is the unit inches. Step 2. Identify the unit you want to end with, and that is the unit feet. Step 3. Find the conversion factor that will convert the starting unit to the ending unit. Now, since the units involved are inches and feet, and we know that in 1 foot there are 12 inches, then the conversion factor is 1 foot over 12 inches. Note that using this fractional form, the unit we want to end with will be the numerator, and that is the unit foot, and the unit you are starting with, or to be cancelled, will be the denominator, and that is the unit inches. Step 4. Set up mathematical expression so that all the units except the unit you want to end with will not be cancelled. We now have 36 inches times the conversion factor 1 foot over 12 inches. Now, cancel out the unit inches. We now have 36 times 1 foot is equal to 36 feet. We now have 36 feet over 12. 36 feet over 12 is equal to 3 feet. Therefore, 36 inches is equal to 3 feet. Example number 2. Convert 11 yards to inches. Step 1. Identify the unit you are starting with, and that is the unit yards. Step 2. Identify the unit you want to end with, and that is the unit inches. Step 3. Find the conversion factor that will convert the starting unit to the ending unit. Now, since the units involved here are yards and inches, and we know that in 1 yard there are 36 inches, therefore, our conversion factor is 36 inches over 1 yard. Notice that in the fractional form, the unit we want to end with will be the numerator, which is the unit inches. And the unit we are starting with, or to be cancelled, will be the denominator, and that is the unit yard. Step 4. Set up mathematical expression so that all the units except the unit you want to end with will not be cancelled. We now have 11 yards times the conversion factor, 36 inches over 1 yard. Now simplify. Cancel out the unit yards. We now have 11 times 36 inches is equal to 396 inches. We now have 396 inches over 1, and that is equal to 396 inches. And this is our final answer. Therefore, 11 yards is equal to 396 inches. Easy, right? Now, how about converting English unit of measurement to metric unit of measurement and vice versa? Let's have examples. Example number 1. Convert 20 kilometers to mile. Following the same steps, step 1, we identify the unit you are starting with. So, since we are converting kilometer to mile, then our starting unit is kilometer. Next step, identify the unit you want to end with. So, the unit we want to end with is mile. Next step, find the conversion factor or factors that will convert the starting unit to ending unit. Using the fractional form, the unit you want to end will be the numerator, and the unit you are starting with to be cancelled will be the denominator. Now, using the English measurement to metric measurements equivalents, we know that in 1 mile it is equal to 1.6 kilometers. So we now have 1 mile over 1.6 kilometers. Next, set up mathematical expression so that all units except the unit you want to end with will not be cancelled. We now have 20 kilometers times 1 mile over 1.6 kilometers. We cancel out kilometers, so we have mile left. Simplifying, we now have 20 times 1 over 1.6 is equal to 20 over 1.6 mile. 20 over 1.6 is equal to 12.5 mile. Therefore, 20 kilometers in mile is equivalent to 12.5 miles. Next example. Convert 8 inches to centimeters. Again, following the same steps, first we identify the unit you are starting with. Since we are converting inches to centimeters, therefore our starting unit is inches. Next, identify the unit you want to end with. It is centimeters. Step 3. Find the conversion factor or factors that will convert the starting unit to ending unit. Again, numerator will be the unit you want to end with,
and the denominator will be the unit you are starting with. We know that in the given equivalents, 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. So we now have 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch. Next, we set up mathematical expressions so that all units except the unit you want to end with will not be cancelled. We now have 8 inches times 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch. We cancel out inches, so we have centimeters left. Simplifying, 8 times 2.54 over 1 is equal to 20.32 over 1 centimeters. 20.32 over 1 is equal to 20.32 centimeters. Therefore, 8 inches into centimeters is equal to 20.32 centimeters.
Do you get it? Good! Nowadays, the use of the metric system of measurement is recommended because computations are easier in this system, for it is a base 10 system. This means that each successive unit is 10 times larger than the previous one. Here are the common prefixes that describe each power of 10. These prefixes are used for the base unit for length, mass, volume, and other measurements in the metric system. Now, we have the table that shows the prefixes, its symbol, factor, and its power of 10. Tera. Its symbol is capital T. Its factor is 1 trillion, or 10 to the power of 12. Giga. Its symbol is capital G. Its factor is 1 billion, or 10 to the power of 9. Mega, or capital M. Its factor is 1 million, or 10 to the power of 6. Kilo, or K. Its factor is 1,000, or 10 to the power of 3. Hecto, or H. Its factor is 100, or 10 squared. Deca. Its symbol is DA. Its factor is 10, or 10 to the power of 1. Deci, or D. Its factor is 1 over 10, or 10 to the power of negative 1. Centi, or C. Its factor is 1 over 100, or 10 to the power of negative 2. Milli, or M. Its factor is 1 over 1,000, or 10 to the power of negative 3. Micro, and this is its symbol. Its factor is 1 over 1 million, or 10 to the power of negative 6. Nano, or N. Its factor is 1 over 1 billion, or 10 to the power of negative 9. The names of the metric units are formed by adding a prefix to its basic unit of measurement. To tell how large or small a unit is, you look for the prefix. And to tell whether the unit is measuring length, mass, or volume, you look for the base unit.
Using the table of prefixes as a reference, here is a similar table that just shows the metric unit of measurement for length, along with their size relative to 1 meter, or the basic unit. The common abbreviations of these units are included as well. Here are the common metric unit of length and its equivalent. Kilometer, or km, is equal to 1,000 meters. Hectometer, or hm, is equal to 100 meters. 1 decameter, or dam, is equivalent to 10 meters. 1 meter, or m, is of course equal to 1 m. Decimeter, or dm, is equal to 0.1 meters. Centimeter, or cm, is equivalent to 0.01 meters. Millimeter or mm is equivalent to 0.001 meters.
Now, how to convert the metric unit of measurement from one unit to another? Well, you could use one of these two methods depending on your preference. The two methods are, first is using metric converter. Here is a converter diagram for length. From the largest unit km to the smallest unit mm, we have km, hm, dam, m, dm, cm, mm. Note that multiply when changing from a larger unit to a smaller unit, and divide when changing from a smaller unit to a larger unit. Next step is using the conversion factor.
Let's have examples. Convert 8,592 meters to kilometers. Using method 1 or the metric converter, first, we identify locations of meters and kilometers. Next, count the intermediate units dividing by 10 as you go. Since we are converting meters to kilometers, this means that we are going from a smaller unit to a larger unit. Meters to kilometers is equal to 1, 2, 3 units from right to left. Now, we are going to divide to find the number of kilometers in 8,592 meters. We now have 8,592 meters will be divided by 10 3 times. 8,592 divided by 10 3 times is equal to 8.592 kilometers. Now, using the method 2 or the conversion factor, first, we identify the unit you are starting with, and that is equal to meters. Next, what is the unit we want to end with? Right, it is kilometers. Now, we find the conversion factor or factors that will convert the starting unit to ending unit. Using the conversion factor, we know that in 1 kilometer, it is equal to 1,000 meters. We now have 1 kilometer over 1,000 meters. Using the fractional form, the unit you want to end with will always be in the numerator. The unit you want to cancel with will be written in the denominator. Next step, we set up now mathematical expressions so that all units except the unit you want to end with will not be cancelled. We now have 8,592 meters times 1 kilometer over 1,000 meters. We cancel out meters. We now have kilometers left. Simplifying, 8,592 times 1 over 1,000 is equal to 8,592 over 1,000 kilometers. 8,592 over 1,000 is equal to 8.592 kilometers. Therefore, 8,592 meters into kilometers is equal to 8.592 kilometers.
Easy, right? Now, it's your turn to try. Convert 5.43 meters to centimeters. Correct! 5.43 meters is equal to 543 centimeters. Now, check the process using metric converter. Using metric converter, from the larger unit to the smaller unit, we now have, first,
Identify locations of meters and centimeters. Next, count the intermediate units multiplying by 10 as you go. Since you are going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, you multiply by 10. Now, from meter to centimeter, we now have 1 multiply by 10, 2 multiply by 10. Next, we multiply to find the number of centimeters in 5.43 meters. We now have 5.43 meters times 10 times 10 is equal to 543 centimeters. Therefore, 5.43 meters is equal to 543 centimeters. Complicated? No.
Now, since you already learned the conversion of unit of measurement for length in both English and metric system, then it's time to get your activity sheets in this lesson and answer the given activities. Let us read the directions. Conversion of length. Convert each measure to its indicated unit.
Take your time in answering the activity.
Now, if you have questions or clarifications, you may contact the number of your teacher printed below your activity sheets.
To end, always remember that our life is like math.
Once we convert our negative thoughts to positive ones, surely
we'll start having positive results.
Grade 8 learners, relax and stay tuned for Math 8 is coming next.
Good luck and God bless everyone.
Inihahandog ng Dibisyon ng TANGKUB City ang iba't ibang kwento, aral at kaalaman habang kayo ay nasa inyong mga tahanan. TV-based instruction.
Welcome back mga Grade 8 Mathematics.
Today is another brand new day to learn another lesson in mathematics.
Dito sa nag-iisang programa nyo,
ang TANGKUB. We learn all things, ang saya. Ready na ba kayo?
Hooray! Now, let us begin. Last episode, you have learned about linear inequalities. As a review, let us watch again this scene.
Parang matamlay ka, Juan. Naku! Parang may sinat ka. 3 oras pa naman ang biyahe natin patungo sa tito mo. Teka lang, kukuha mo na ako ng thermometer. $37.5. Hindi kasi natulog ng maaga. O ito, inumin mo ang gamot at matulog ka sa biyahe.
Sorry po, inay. Nay, malapit po ba tayo? Ang ganda sana ng panaginip ko. Nandun daw kami sa museo. Sayang, nagising ako kaagad. Marami pa sana akong matutunan.
Ay, nako. Bunga ng sinat lang yan.
Again, the situation shows inequality of temperature. Anything that is not the same or unequal is called inequalities.
Now, how about if we have two or more inequalities? What do we call with these inequalities together? Now, learners, stay tuned for we will tackle another lesson, and that is solving system of linear inequalities in two variables.
What do we mean by system of linear inequalities? A system of linear inequalities consists of a set of two or more linear inequalities with the same variables. The inequalities define the conditions that are to be considered simultaneously. For example, 5x minus 2y is less than or equal to 10, and 3x plus 2y is greater than 6. Each inequality in the set contains infinitely many ordered pair solutions defined by a region in a rectangular coordinate plane. When considering two of these inequalities together, the intersection of these sets defines the set of simultaneous ordered pair solutions.
Solving system of linear inequalities is the same as solving systems of linear equations. However, with inequalities, we will not find a point of intersection as a solution. Instead, the solution set will be the region that satisfies all of the linear inequalities.
Now, here are the steps in solving system of linear inequalities by graphing. First, solve the inequality for y. Follow the slope-intercept form y equals mx plus b. Second, treat the inequality as a linear equation and graph the line as either a solid line or a dashed line depending on the inequality symbol. If the inequality symbol is less than or greater than, draw a dashed line, while if the inequality symbol is less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, draw a solid line. Third, shade the region that satisfies both inequalities. Fourth, repeat steps 1 to 3 for each inequality. Note that the solution set will be the overlapping region of all the inequalities or the double shaded region.
Now, let us have examples. Determine the solution to the following system of linear inequalities. We have 5x minus 2y is less than or equal to 10, and 3x plus 2y is greater than 6. Following the steps, first, we take the first given inequality 5x minus 2y is less than or equal to 10. We replace the inequality symbol with an equal sign. Then, solve for y or the slope-intercept form. We now have, from 5x minus 2y is less than or equal to 10, we have 5x minus 2y is equal to 10. Now, to solve for y, using the APE, we add both sides of the equation by negative 5x. We now have 5x minus 2y plus negative 5x equals 10 plus negative 5x. Combining like terms, 5x minus 5x is equal to 0. We now have negative 2y equals negative 5x plus 10. Now using the MPE, we multiply both sides by negative 1/2. We now have negative 1/2 times negative 2y equals negative 5x plus 10 times negative 1/2. Simplifying, negative 1/2 times negative 2y is equal to positive y. Negative 5x times negative 1/2 is equal to positive 5 over 2x. Positive 10 times negative 1/2 is equal to negative 5. So we now have y equals 5 over 2x minus 5. Note that when we multiply a negative number, remember to change the inequality sign to its opposite inequality sign. So from less than or equal to inequality sign, it will now be greater than or equal to. Step 2. Let us graph the boundary line for the inequality. The slope-intercept form will now be y is greater than or equal to 5 over 2x minus 5. Graphing this inequality, first we locate the b or the y-intercept. This is the point 0, negative 5. From 0, negative 5, following the slope rise over run, we move 5 units upward and 2 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 units to the right, we have 1, 2. This is now the point 2, 0. Next, let us shade the region that satisfies the inequality. Since the inequality states that y must be greater than or equal to 5 over 2x minus 5, then the region to be shaded will be above the boundary line. Always remember that you can also use a test point in shading the solution of the inequalities. The easiest test point you can use is the ordered pair 0, 0. However, you can choose any ordered pair you want as a test point. So if we're going to use the point 0, 0, we substitute the given values of the variables respectively. Y is greater than or equal to 5 over 2x minus 5. Substituting the values, we now have 0 is greater than or equal to 5 over 2 times 0 minus 5. 5 over 2 times 0 is equal to 0. So we now have 0 is greater than or equal to 0 minus 5. 0 minus 5 is equal to negative 5. So we now have 0 is greater than or equal to negative 5. And this statement is true. Now, since the statement is true that 0 is greater than or equal to negative 5, therefore, test point 0, 0 is part of the solution and you will shade the upper portion of the graph. Now, taking the second inequality, we have 3x plus 2y is greater than 6. Again, we replace the inequality symbol by equal sign and write it into slope-intercept form. So we have 3x plus 2y is greater than 6. This will now turn into 3x plus 2y equals 6. Now to solve for y, we add both sides by negative 3x. We now have 3x plus 2y plus negative 3x equals 6 plus negative 3x. 3x plus negative 3x is equal to 0. So we now have 2y equals negative 3x plus 6. Now, using the MPE, we multiply both sides by positive 1/2. We now have 1/2 times 2y equals negative 3x plus 6 times 1/2. 1/2 times 2y is equal to y. Negative 3x times 1/2 is equal to negative 3 over 2x. 6 times 1/2 is equal to 3. We now have y equals 3 over 2x plus 3. Now, let us graph the boundary line for the second inequality. Our second inequality will now be y is greater than negative 3 over 2x plus 3. Graphing this inequality, we first plot the y-intercept or the b. We have 0, 3. This is the point 0, 3. Using the slope following the rise over run, we move 3 units downward and 2 units to the right, since our slope is negative 3 over 2. 1, 2, 3. Then, 2 units to the right, 1, 2. Now, since the inequality is greater than, therefore the boundary line will be a dashed line. Now we are ready to shade the region that satisfies the second inequality. Since the inequality states that y must be greater than negative 3 over 2x plus 3, therefore the region to be shaded will be above the boundary line. Again, you can use a test point in shading the solution of the inequalities. The easiest test point is the ordered pair 0, 0. Using the test point 0, 0, we substitute the given values to each variables respectively. So we now have y is greater than negative 3 over 2x plus 3. Substituting the values, we have 0 is greater than negative 3 over 2 times 0 plus 3. Negative 3 over 2 times 0 is equal to 0. So we have 0 is greater than 0 plus 3. 0 plus 3 is equal to positive 3. So we have 0 is greater than 3. 0 is greater than 3 is a false statement. Now, since it is a false statement, then 0 is greater than 3 is not part of the solution, and therefore you will shade the upper portion of the graph. Now, what have you observed with the graph? Now, the solution set will be the overlap region. The solution set region would include the part of the solid boundary line. All points that lie on the dashed line are not part of the solution of the system. In determining whether the given ordered pairs are solution to the system, we substitute the x and y values to the given system of linear inequalities. Now, trying the point 2, 3, which is part of the overlap region, we substitute the given x and y value to each of the inequalities. We now have 5x minus 2y is less than or equal to 10. Now, using the point 2, 3, we substitute the value of x and y on the given inequalities. The first inequality, 5x minus 2y is less than or equal to 10. We now have 5 times 2 minus 2 times 3 is less than or equal to 10. 5 times 2 is equal to 10. 2 times 3 is equal to 6. We now have 10 minus 6 is less than or equal to 10. 10 minus 6 is equal to 4. So we have 4 is less than or equal to 10. This inequality statement is a true statement. Now, substituting the values of x and y on the second inequality, we now have 3x plus 2y is greater than 6. 3 times 2 plus 2 times 3 is greater than 6. 3 times 2 is equal to 6. 2 times 3 is equal to 6. We now have 6 plus 6 is greater than 6. 6 plus 6 is equal to 12. So we have 12 is greater than 6. This inequality statement is a true statement. Therefore, the point 2, 3 is one of the solutions to the system, and it is found on the overlap region of the graph. Now, what about the point 0, 0? The point 0, 0 is not part of the overlap region. To check, we substitute the values of x and y in each of the inequalities. Substituting it to the first inequality, we now have 5x minus 2y is less than or equal to 10. 5 times 0 minus 2 times 0 is less than or equal to 10. 5 times 0 is equal to 0. 2 times 0 is equal to 0. We now have 0 minus 0 is less than or equal to 10. 0 minus 0 is equal to 0. So we have 0 is less than or equal to 10. This inequality statement is a true statement. What about substituting it to the second inequality? We have 3x plus 2y is greater than 6. 3 times 0 plus 2 times 0 is greater than 6. 3 times 0 is equal to 0. 2 times 0 is equal to 0. So 0 plus 0 is greater than 6. 0 plus 0 is equal to 0. So 0 is greater than 6. This statement is a false statement. Since there is a false statement, therefore, the point 0, 0 is not one of the solutions to the system because it does not satisfy both inequalities.
Easy, right? Again, to solve the system of linear inequalities in two variables, take note of the following. First, draw the individual graph of each inequality on the same coordinate plane. Shade the appropriate half plane. Recall that if all points on the line are included in the solution, it is a closed half plane and the line is solid. On the other hand, if the points on the line are not part of the solutions of the inequality, it is an open half plane and the line is broken. Second, the region where shaded areas overlap is the graphical solution to the system. Third, if the graphs do not overlap, then the system has no solution. Do you get it? Good.
Let us have another example.
Example number 2. Graph and find the solution set of the given system of linear inequalities. Negative 3x plus 2y is greater than 6 and 6x minus 4y is greater than 8. Solution. Again, to facilitate the graphing process, we first solve for y or the slope-intercept form of each inequalities. Now, the slope-intercept form of negative 3x plus 2y is greater than 6 is y is greater than 3 over 2x plus 3. And the slope-intercept form of 6x minus 4y is greater than 8 is y is less than 3 over 2x minus 2. Now, let us graph the inequalities. For the first inequality, y is greater than 3 over 2x plus 3. To graph this, let us locate first the y-intercept. Since positive 3 is the y-intercept, then this is the point 0, 3 or the y-intercept. To find another point, let us use the slope which is equal to rise over run. Since the slope of the first inequality is positive 3 over 2, then from the point 0, 3, we move 3 units up, 1, 2, 3, and 2 units to the right, 1, 2. This is the second point, 2, 6. Now, connect the 2 points. This is now the graph of the linear inequality y is greater than 3 over 2x plus 3. Note that we use a dashed line for the boundary because of the inequality symbol which is greater than. Now, shade all the points above the boundary line or the plane divider. Next, for the second inequality, y is less than 3 over 2x minus 2. To graph this, let's locate first the y-intercept. Since the y-intercept is negative 2, then this is the point 0, negative 2. To find another point, we have to use the slope which is equal to rise over run. And since the slope is positive, which is 3 over 2, now from the y-intercept, move 3 units up, 1, 2, 3, and 2 units to the right, 1, 2. This is another point 2, 1. Now connect the 2 points. We now form a straight line. This is the graph of the linear inequality y is less than 3 over 2x minus 2. Notice that we also use dashed or broken line since the inequality symbol used is less than. Now, shade all the points below the boundary. As you can see, there is no intersection of these two shaded regions. Therefore, the given system of linear inequality, which are negative 3x plus 2y is greater than 6 and 6x minus 4y is greater than 8, has no solution. Do you get it? Good! Now, how about this next system of linear inequality?
Now let us have our third example. Graph and find the solution set of the system of linear inequalities. Y is greater than or equal to negative 4, y is less than x plus 3, and y is less than or equal to negative 3x plus 3. Now, since the given inequalities are already on its slope-intercept form, then we will now ready to graph each inequality. Plotting the first inequality y is greater than or equal to negative 4, we just simply plot the point 0, negative 4. This is the point 0, negative 4. For this inequality, we use a solid line and shade the region above the line since we are using the inequality symbol greater than or equal to. Now, let us graph the second inequality y is less than x plus 3. First, plotting the y-intercept or the b, 0, 3. This is the point 0, positive 3. Now, since the inequality has a slope 1, then this means that the slope is 1 over 1. Then this means that we move 1 unit upward and 1 unit to the right. We now have this point 1, positive 4. Now, since this inequality uses less than inequality symbol, then therefore, we use a dashed or broken line. Then, we will shade the region below the line. For the third inequality, we have y is less than or equal to negative 3x plus 3. Now, graphing this inequality, we have to plot first the y-intercept. The y-intercept is 0, positive 3. This is the point 0, positive 3. Now, since the slope is negative 3, then this means from point 0, 3, we move 3 units downward and 1 unit to the right. This is now the point 1, 0. Now, for this inequality, we use a solid line and shade the region below the line because we are using the less than or equal to inequality symbol. Now, the intersection of all the shaded regions forms the triangular region as pictured, darkened. After graphing all 3 inequalities on the same set of axes, we determine that the intersection lies in the triangular region pictured. Using a test point check, the graphic suggests that the point negative 1, positive 1 is a common point. As a check, we substitute the point into the inequalities and verify that it solves all 3 conditions. Therefore, the point negative 1, positive 1 is one of the solutions of the given system of linear inequality.
Now, since you already learned solving linear inequalities, then it's time to get your activity sheet in this lesson and answer the given activities.
Let us read the directions. Activity A. Determine if each ordered pair is a solution of the system of linear inequality. Write yes if it is a solution, and write no if it's not. Show your solution. Activity B. Solve the following system of inequalities graphically. Find 3 points that satisfy both inequalities. Item number 1 is done for you.
Just take your time in answering the activities.
Now, if you have questions or clarifications, you may contact the number of your teacher printed below your activity sheets.
To end, just like mathematics, life has full of inequalities. Sometimes it may be unfair, but always remember that life is a journey.
We may see it unequal, but it has lessons to learn and experiences to enjoy. Now grade 9 learners, stay tuned and get ready for Math 9 is coming next. Good luck and God bless everyone. Bye!
Inihahandog ng Dibisyon ng TANGKUB City ang iba't ibang kwento, aral, at kaalaman habang kayo ay nasa inyong mga tahanan. TV-based instruction.
Welcome back mga grade 9 Mathematics. Today is another brand new day to learn another lesson in mathematics. Dito sa nag-isang programa nyo, ang TANGKUB. We learn all things, ang saya! Ready na ba kayo? Hooray! Now, let us begin. Last episode, you have learned already the concept of direct variation, inverse variation, and joint variation. Now, as a review, let's play back this scene.
Honey Buns, pakicheck na sa Google Map kung ilang kilometro pa mula rito.
Oo nga, ilang oras na tayong nagbibiyahe at medyo malayo-layo na rin ang nararating natin. Honey Buns, mga 20 kilometro pa ang layo mula rito.
The distance varies directly as the time of travel. It means as the length of time increases, their distance of travel also increases. This situation shows direct variation. However, speed varies inversely as time. It means that if their travel speed increases, their time consumed in traveling decreases. This shows inverse variation. For the joint variation, let's play back this scene.
Maiba tayo, Honey Buns. May kasamahan ako sa trabaho na nagdi-deal sa akin ng kanyang palayan. Matinding pangangailangan daw. Saktong-sakto, naghahanap tayo ng additional income.
Talaga? Gaano kalaki ang area?
50 by 20, Honey Buns. Sabay nating tingnan ang area pagbalik natin sa TANGKUB.
Desidido ako dyan, Honey Buns.
Area of flat surfaces or figures is one of the examples of joint variation. The area of the rice field varies jointly as its length and width.
Now, what if we're going to combine all these three types of variation? The direct, inverse, and joint variation. Well, if that's the case, then it deals with another type of variation, and that is our lesson for today. This is combined variation. What do we mean by combined variation? Combined variation refers to a situation in which one quantity varies directly or jointly and inversely as the other quantities.
Let's have an example. Which of the following equations does not belong to the group?
Very good. The equation in letter D, which is y is equal to k times x over z, does not belong to the group because it contains a combination of both the direct and inverse variation. This equation is an example of combined variation. This equation, y equals k times x over z, can be translated into a combined variation statement as y varies directly as x and inversely as z, where k is the constant of variation. Do you understand? Good!
Now, how about translating combined variation statements into equation? Let's have examples. Translate combined variation statements into equations where k represents the constant of variation. Number 1. W varies jointly as x and y, and inversely as z. Very good. It can be translated as W equals kxy over z, where k is the constant of variation. Another example. A varies directly as b and inversely as c. Correct. This can be translated as A equals KB over C, where K is the constant of variation. Third example. M varies directly as N and inversely as the square of P. Very good. This can be translated into an equation as M equals Kn over P squared, where K is the constant of variation. Easy, right? Now, how to solve problems involving combined variations? Let's have an example. If H varies directly as M and inversely as N, and H is equal to 14 when M is equal to 7 and N is equal to 3. Find A, the constant of variation. B, the variation equation. C, find H when M is equal to 4 and N is equal to 8. Now let's have the solution for A, the constant of variation or K. First, let us translate the statement H varies directly as M and inversely as N to mathematical statement or equation. We now have H is equal to K times M over N. Next, know the given. The given are H is equal to 14, M is equal to 7, and N is equal to 3. Next, let's substitute the given to the equation. We now have 14 is equal to K times 7 over 3. Now, let's cross multiply. 14 times 3 is equal to 42. 7 times K is equal to 7K. We now have 42 is equal to 7K. Now, to solve for K, let's multiply both sides by 1 over 7. We now have 1 over 7 times 42 is equal to 7K times 1 over 7. Then, simplify. 1 over 7 times 42 is equal to 6. 7K times 1 over 7 is equal to K. Therefore, the constant of variation or K is equal to 6. Next, let's have the equation of the variation. Now, since K is equal to 6, substituting it to the equation H is equal to K times M over N, therefore, the equation of variation is H is equal to 6M over N. Now let's have the solution for C. Find h when m is equal to 4 and n is equal to 8. Now, let's use the equation h is equal to 6m over n, where 6 is the constant of variation or k. Next, let's substitute the values of m and n in the equation. Since m is equal to 4 and n is equal to 8, we now have h is equal to 6 times 4 over 8. Then simplify. 6 times 4 is equal to 24. We now have h is equal to 24 over 8. 24 over 8 or 24 divided by 8 is equal to 3. Therefore, h is equal to 3. This is the value of h when m is equal to 4 and n is equal to 8.
Complicated? No! Now since you already learned about combined variation, then it's time to get your activity sheet in this lesson and answer the given activities. Let's read the directions. Activity A. Determine whether each of the following equations show combined variation or not. Activity B. Translate each of the following combined variation statements to mathematical statement or equation. Item number 1 is done for you. Activity C. Solve the following problem. Show your solution if necessary. Take your time in answering the activity. Now, if you have questions or clarifications, you may contact the number of your teacher printed below your activity sheets. To end, life is like math. Our life is a combination of happiness and sadness. Always remember that whatever pain you are going through, trust that it wasn't sent to break you, but to make you. Relax and stay tuned for Math 10 is coming next. Good luck and God bless everyone! Bye!
Inihahandog ng Dibisyon ng TANGKUB City ang iba't ibang kwento, aral at kaalaman habang kayo ay nasa inyong mga tahanan. TV-based instruction.
Welcome back mga grade 10 Mathematics. Today is another brand new day to learn another lesson in mathematics. Dito sa nag-isang programa nyo, ang TANGKUB. We learn all things, ang saya. Ready na ba kayo? Hooray! Now let us begin. Last episode, we already defined and illustrated polynomial functions. This time, we will talk more about polynomial functions. But before that, We will watch first a scene where we can find polynomial functions on the situation.
Good morning, class!
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Anong kaguluhan ang narinig ko kanina? Pedro?
Wala po, ma'am.
Okay. Before we will start our class discussion today, let us check first your assignment about your illustration of polynomial functions.
Alright, it is about their assignment. Now learners, bear with us today for we will learn to understand, to interpret, and describe the graph of polynomial functions. Again, what is a polynomial function? As a review, now, what is the graph of polynomial function? Well, here are the things we need to understand about the graph of polynomial functions. The graph of polynomial function is continuous because every polynomial function with real coefficients has the set of real numbers at its domain. Furthermore, it means that there are no holes or gaps in which you can even draw the graph without lifting your pen. Also, the graph of polynomial function is smooth. It has no sharp corner and the turns are rounded. Every polynomial function of the nth degree cannot have more than n roots. That's according to fundamental theorem of algebra, which means the graph cannot intersect the x-axis more than n times. A polynomial function of degree n has n-1 turning points. On its graph, or the number of turning points is always less than n. When we say turning points, it means that the function is changing values from decreasing to increasing or from increasing to decreasing. The multiplicity of root r is the number of times the x minus r is a factor of f of x. In other words, multiplicity is the exponent of a factor x minus r. When a real root has even multiplicity, the graph of f of x is tangent. It simply touches it but does not cross to the x-axis. When a real root has odd multiplicity greater than 1, the graph bends as it crosses the x-axis. Again, here is the illustration. If multiplicity is even, then it is tangent to x-axis. If the multiplicity is odd, then it crosses the x-axis. Well, we can only analyze these if we start graphing. To graph polynomial functions, we follow few steps. First, to know the points where the graph passes through, find the x and y intercept. Second, sketch the graph. Now, let us have examples. Sketch the graph of the function f of x is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 2. First, we find the x-intercept. In finding the x-intercept, we let f of x or y equal to 0. We now have 0 is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 2. Now, applying the factoring we had learned on our previous lessons, x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 2 can be written as a factored form as the quantity of x plus 1 times the quantity of x minus 1 times the quantity of x minus 2. Now, applying the zero product property to get the x-intercepts, we now have x plus 1 is equal to 0, x minus 1 is equal to 0, and x minus 2 is equal to 0. For x plus 1 equals 0, we now have x is equal to negative 1. In x minus 1 is equal to 0, we can have x equal to positive 1. For x minus 2 is equal to 0, we can have x equal to 2. Therefore, the graph will pass through these points. negative 1, 0, positive 1, 0, and positive 2, 0. Now, let us find the y-intercept. In finding the y-intercept, we let x be equal to 0. We now have f of x is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 2. Substituting x equal to 0, we now have f of x is equal to 0 cubed minus 2 times 0 squared minus 0 plus 2. 0 cubed is equal to 0. 0 squared is equal to 0. And 0 times negative 2 is equal to 0. We now have 0 minus 0 minus 0 plus 2. Simplifying, we now have positive 2. So the graph will also pass through the point 0, 2. Now, let us sketch the graph. Take note that you may also find other points on the graph by making a table of values. Therefore, this is now the graph of the function f of x is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 2. Notice that the graph has no sharp corner. It is smooth. The graph also crosses the x-axis 3 times. It's because the degree of the function is 3. Take note of the concept number 2 states that the graph also illustrates 2 turning points since the degree of f of x is 3. Take note of the concept number 3. Do you get it? Good!
Let's have another example. Second example. Sketch the graph of y equals the quantity of x plus 1 times the quantity of x plus 2 squared times the quantity of x minus 1 cubed. Solution. Let's find first the x-intercept. Since the given is in factored form already, there's no need to factor the polynomial completely. Note that the x-intercept is the value of x when y equals 0. Now, let y is equal to 0. Copy first the given equation. Substituting 0 to y in the equation, we now have 0 equals the quantity of x plus 1 times the quantity of x plus 2 squared times the quantity of x minus 1 cubed. Applying the zero product property, we now equate each factor to 0. We now have x plus 1 is equal to 0, x plus 2 squared is equal to 0, and x minus 1 cubed is equal to 0. Now, let us simplify each equation. Let's start with x plus 1 is equal to 0. To solve for x, applying the APE, we now have x is equal to negative 1. In the second equation, x plus 2 squared equals 0. To solve for x, let us take the square root of both sides of the equation. We now have square root of x plus 2 squared is equal to square root of 0. Simplify. Square root of the quantity of x plus 2 squared is equal to x plus 2. And square root of 0 is equal to 0. We now have x plus 2 is equal to 0. Applying the APE, the value of x is equal to negative 2. In the third equation, the quantity of x minus 1 cubed equals 0. Let us take the cube root to both sides of the equation. We now have cube root of the quantity of x minus 1 cubed is equal to cube root of 0. Simplify. Cube root of the quantity of x minus 1 cubed is equal to x minus 1. And cube root of 0 is 0. We now have x minus 1 is equal to 0. Applying the APE, therefore, x here is equal to 1. Therefore, if y is equal to 0, then the x-intercepts are negative 1, negative 2, and 1. This shows that the graph will pass through the points negative 1, 0, negative 2, 0, and 1, 0. Next, let's find the y-intercept.
Note that the y-intercept is the value of y when x is equal to 0. Now, let x is equal to 0. Copy first the given equation. Now, substituting 0 to all x in the given equation, we now have y is equal to the quantity of 0 plus 1 times the quantity of 0 plus 2 squared times the quantity of 0 minus 1 cubed. And simplify. 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 2 is 2. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. We now have y is equal to 1 times 2 squared times negative 1 cubed. Simplify. 2 squared is equal to 4. Negative 1 cubed is equal to negative 1. We now have y equals 1 times 4 times negative 1. 1 times 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Therefore, the y-intercept is negative 4. This shows that the graph will also pass through the point 0, negative 4. Note that you may also find other points on the graph by making a table of values. Sketching the graph, we have this graph. Therefore, this is the graph of the function y equals the quantity of x plus 1 times the quantity of x plus 2 squared times the quantity of x minus 1 cubed. Notice on the graph where the root is negative 2, the given factor is the quantity of x plus 2 squared, meaning to say the factor x plus 2 occurred twice. Concept number 4 tells us that when a real root has even multiplicity, the graph of the function is tangent to the x-axis. It simply touches it but does not cross the x-axis. Now, observe the graph where the root is 1, where the given factor is the quantity of x minus 1 cubed. Concept number 4 again tells us that when a real root has odd multiplicity, the graph bends as it crosses the x-axis.
Easy, right? Now, even if we don't graph polynomial functions, we can also describe its graph. This is through the use of leading coefficient test. The leading coefficient test is a test that can help you determine the end behavior of the graph of polynomial functions. When we say end behavior, it means a description of the values of the function as x approaches positive infinity or negative infinity. The leading coefficient and the degree of a polynomial function determine its end behavior, and it's very much helpful in graphing polynomial function. This is now the polynomial end behavior. If the leading coefficient is positive or greater than 0, then the degree is even, then the graph rises to the right and rises to the left. If the leading coefficient is negative or less than 0, then the degree is even, then the graph falls to the right and falls to the left. If the leading coefficient is positive or greater than 0, then the degree is odd number, then the graph rises to the right and falls to the left. And if the leading coefficient is negative or less than 0, and the degree is also an odd number, then the graph rises to the left and falls to the right.
Now, let us take our example number 1 earlier. The given function was f of x is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 2. Looking at the given function, this gives a leading coefficient of 1, positive, and the degree is 3, an odd number. Thus, by its end behavior, the graph rises to the right and falls to the left, which is true as shown on our graph in example number 1.
Another was our example number 2. The given function was y equals the quantity of x plus 1 times the square of x plus 2 times the cube of x minus 1. Again, in determining its end behavior, We will identify the leading coefficient and its degree. Based on the given function, the leading coefficient is right. It's 1. And it is positive. The degree is 6. And 6 is an even number. This shows the graph of the function, the quantity of x plus 1 times the square of x plus 2 times the cube of x minus 1. Thus, the graph rises to the right and rises to the left, which is true as shown on our graph in example number 2. Complicated?
No! Now, since you already understand, describe, and interpret the graphs of polynomial functions, then it's time to get your activity sheet in this lesson and answer the given activities.
Let us read the directions. Activity A. Identify whether the graph of the following function has positive or negative leading coefficient. Activity B. Determine whether the graph of the following function has an odd or even degree. Activity C. Identify the leading coefficient, degree, its end behavior, and sketch the graph of the following polynomial functions.
Just take your time in answering the activities.
Now, if you have questions or clarifications, you may contact the number of your teacher printed below your activity sheets. To end, just like polynomial functions, the exponents are always whole and positive. Life needs this too. If we fill it with positive thoughts, then our life will attract good and positive things too.
According to Paulo Coelho, when you want something, there are forces in the universe that will conspire and make it happen. Good luck and God bless everyone!
tears are in your eyes. Come on and come to me now. Don't be ashamed to cry. Let me see you through. 'Cause I've seen the dark side too. When the night falls on you, you don't know what to do. Nothing you confess can make me love you less. I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. Won't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you. So if you're mad, get mad. Don't hold it all inside. Come on and talk to me now. Hey, what you got to hide? I get angry too. But I'm a lot like you. When you're standing at the crossroads and don't know which path to choose, let me come along. 'Cause even if you're wrong, I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. Won't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you. Take me into your darkest hour, and I'll never desert you. I'll stand by you. And when the night falls on you, baby, you're feeling all alone. You won't be on your own. I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. Won't let nobody hurt you. I'll stand by you. Take me into your darkest hour, and I'll never desert you. I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you.
Tanggub City, simply home. Tanggub City, simply home. This is our place, Tanggub City. There is so much you can see. A paradise from nature's best. It's a beauty among the rest. Rich in culture and history, it has a colorful festivity. One people in harmony, one people in great revelry. Tanggub City is proudly celebrating milestones and beyond. A never-ending celebration, a joy for everyone. Come and join us, let's all have fun. It's a legacy that we have done. A brighter future of our city is at hand. Tanggub City, simply home. 25 years of cultural fame, endless beauty in silver years. Magical symbols every Christmas, people dancing on festivals. Golden years of prosperity, we are proud of a joy for everyone. Come and join us, let's all have fun. It's the legacy that we have done. A brighter future of our city is at hand. Gearing for progress and development. People remain focused to their commitment. Preserving the tradition of good values into TANGKUB City, simply call our home. TANGKUB City is proudly celebrating milestones and beyond. A never-ending celebration, a joy for everyone. Come and join us, let's all have fun. It's a legacy that we have done. A brighter future of our city is at hand. Brighter future, TANGKUB City, simply home. TANGKUB City, simply home. TANGKUB City.
Kahit maraming problema, chill ka lang, don't stop sa pag-eskwela. Kabataan, pag-asa ng ating bayan. Ikaw, ako, tayong lahat ay magtutulungan. Ihanda na ang pisara, upuan at mga mesa. Ang pag-aaral ay simulan na. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina, sa school magsama-sama. Abutin ang mga pangarap, mayaman man o mahirap. Edukasyon ay para sa lahat. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina at magkakaisa. Maghawak ng kamay, sumigaw ng sabay-sabay. Isang tinig tungo sa tagumpay.
Kahit maraming problema, chill ka lang, don't stop sa pag-eskwela. Kabataan, pag-asa ng ating bayan. Ikaw, ako, tayong lahat ay magtutulungan. Ihanda na ang pisara, upuan at mga mesa. Ang pag-aaral ay simulan na. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina, sa school magsama-sama. Abutin ng mga pangarap, mayaman man o mahirap. Edukasyon ay para sa lahat. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina at magkakaisa. Maghawak ng kamay, sumigaw ng sabay-sabay. Isang tinig tungo sa tagumpay. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina, sa school magsama-sama. Abutin ng mga pangarap, mayaman man o mahirap. Edukasyon ay para sa lahat. Halina, balik eskwela na. Halina at magkakaisa. Maghawak ng kamay, sumigaw ng sabay-sabay. Isang tinig tungo sa tagumpay. Halina.
We hope that you have learned the most essential lessons you need to master. See you on our next episodes. This has been ang TANGKUB.
It's TANGKUB, TANGKUB, TANGKUB time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tutok na.
Kung gusto mong maglingaw-lingaw, mga tawag magloling hayaw, mag-joyride na. Uba na ang imong barkada, ana, silingan ug pamilya, mag-joyride na. Sinating untang palibot, mga lugar sulod sa tanggob, mag-ubanta. Silang gato makilaw, sa sanabog sa pulaw, laagunta. Labi na yun sa huyuhoy, ugnaw napit daghan og kahoy, talana. Maglibot tango, maglibot tango kita. Maglipay-lipay, magsakay-sakay tala. Maghihiusa, maghihigala, let's get together, make life feel better. Kung gusto ka og entertainment, for fun and for enjoyment, no problem ka. Sinanduloy among pambato, kumusayo smart kaayo, believe jud ka. Panahon sab sa Disyembre, super gid ka aligre, malingaw gid ka. Fireworks display daghang ganahan, musidlak sa kalangitan, mapawag gid ka. Christmas symbols, capital of the Philippines. Ninira na ninyo makita, friends, diba? Diri sa tanggop, maglibot tanggop kita. Maglipay-lipay, magsakay-sakay tala. Maghihiusa, maghihigala, let's get together, make life feel better. Makita, friends, diba? Hapit sa tango, maglibot tango kita. Maglipay-lipay, magsakay-sakay tala. Maglibot tango, maglibot tango kita. Maglibot tango, maglibot tango kita. Maglibot tango, maglibot tango kita. Maghihiusa, maghihigala, let's get together, make life feel better.
TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's TANGKUB, TANGKUB, TANGKUB time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's TANGKUB, TANGKUB, TANGKUB time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. care.